Hi you guys, I'm Emma and welcome to Yoga for Hips. So thank you for joining me here on the very sunny Gold Coast. The sun is just setting right in my eyes. So I'm just gonna keep my hand here while I do this introduction. Thank you for joining us for Yoga for Hips. If you are like me, you spend majority of your day seated, then it's likely that you might experience some tension or tightness in the hips. And this practice is all about that. So our hips are the largest ball and socket joint in the body and often in need of a little bit of love. This practice is all about releasing into the hamstrings, opening up into the tissues of the hip, but also releasing some lower tension in the back. So let's come straight into it. Let's start by finding a comfortable seat. Round through the sit bones here, lengthen to the crown of the head. And let's take a deep breath in, draw the shoulders up to the ears. Good, exhale back and down. Start to align the head and the heart over the hips. So for you, this might even mean leaning back a little in space. And notice this shift of the center of the gravity here, how you start to shift some of this weight more into the back of the sit bones. Good. And just find any comfortable seat wherever the legs feel good here. We'll take a moment to check in. Notice how you're feeling today, where you are at. Now you have arrived to the mats. And it's likely you have come here because you are experiencing some of this tension and tightness in the hips, and you're absolutely not alone here. Majority of us do spend our days seated, driving, in this position where we're constantly shortening these muscles. Said that seating or being seated is the new smoking, and that over time it does take its toll on our body. So this practice is all about these counter poses we can offer ourselves when we do get caught up in this flow of work or we're seated too much throughout the day. It's also believed that hips are a space where we can hold some negative emotion if we look into this energetically, and that the hips are known as our body's junk drawers. So a beautiful opportunity here to really tap into any residual emotion, any particular thoughts that might be circulating or on repeat. So right here and now, what is it that you feel? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. What's present for you? Soften the jaw, relax the shoulders. And then let's start with 3 really simple, deep belly breaths. So on your next inhale, breathe right into the belly, feel the lungs expand. Send this air to all corners of the torso. Fill up fully. Good, exhale, let it go. 2 more breaths, deep inhale. Exhale, release. Your last breath, inhale. Exhale, let it go. Beautiful. When you are ready, gently opening the eyes. And let's go ahead and start off on our knees today. Spread the fingers wide, stack the shoulders over the hips, and just take a few little rocks side to side. Notice how this movement is feeling for you. If you're someone that's feeling super tight in the hips, then this simple movement of rocking side to side might be a little creaky, you might hear a few cracks, or it might be quite intense within itself. So take it easy, notice where you're at. If you're feeling good, you can start to invite a little more movement, draw some circles here. So the idea here isn't to stretch intensely. It's more so to lubricate these joints, get these moving, especially if this is your first time finding movement today. Take it easy to begin with. Warm up these muscles and tissues. Good. And then you can start to walk the hands a little further forwards and extend through these circles, so really pushing back, maybe even into your child's pose, rolling it forwards into more of a plank variation. Change direction as much as you like, keep it moving. Connect with the breath here. Good. And then let's come back to our tabletop. Walk the hands back if you need. Let's take a little leg extension here. Extend long through that right leg. Then let's start to float the foot. And then find a little twist here. So try to keep a little bit of space in this knee as much as possible instead of just folding it inwards, and by around 90 degrees. See if you can open into the hip flexor here. Good. You might be able to come a little deeper than I can right now. And then when you're ready, you can start to draw circles. And same idea here, we're just lubricating the hip joint. Take it as easy as you like. You can keep these circles quite small. You might really start to accentuate them. Change direction. Close down the eyes. Let's find a few steady breaths here. Good. When you're ready, let's drop that right knee down. Take a little shimmy side to side. Good. And then the opposite side, extend through the leg. Float the foot. Find a twist. And see how you're feeling here. It might feel really good to go super deep, or maybe keep it within this really safe, really simple realm. Good. And then drawing circles again here. You might notice one side a little more coordinated than the other. Totally cool. Beautiful. Drop that knee, little shimmy, little shake side to side. Nice. Let's start to find our way to the sit bones. Ground the sit bones once more. And then let's go ahead and extend through that left leg. Take it out long. We're going to set up for our Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. And just take a little wriggle around with the hips. See if you can pull the flesh towards the back of the sit bones more. And then let's focus on this length in the crown of the head. Lift and lengthen. Good. And then as you exhale here, we're going to take it really slowly, just deep, finding depth in this pose, breath by breath, using the space in the spine to lead us as we hinge deeper at the hips. So try to keep this integrity and height in the pose, even though it's head to knee. We really want that heart to come down first. So you can take a deep breath in, lift and lengthen. Exhale, creep it a little further forwards. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, creeping a little further forwards. Keep a really soft, supple bend in the knee, little micro bend to support the hamstrings. Continuing here, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forwards. Good. Just continuing at your own pace. Good. And when you get to a space that feels good for you, go ahead and hang out there. This is totally where I am at today. I have this beautiful big pregnancy belly to work with, so it's not allowing me to come as deep into these as I usually would. So really feel into where you're at. If you're someone that's really looking for that depth in the pose today, keep walking it forwards, use your breath, stay with it. When you find a space that works for you, find a few deep breaths there. Soften the shoulders, broaden into the chest, open the collarbones. Good. Inhale, walk the hands back, lift the chest. Let's bring the soles of the feet to connect here. Baddha Konasana, pull the flesh towards the back of the sit bones. Deep breath in, same deal here. Exhale, fold it forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, folding forwards. Take your time here. So the idea here is that, yes, we're opening up into these hips, but we're also releasing into the hamstrings, the tissues of the hamstrings, but specifically these three large muscles in the hamstrings, and these can often be the culprit for pain in the lower back or niggling sensations in the lower back when we Don't stretch the hamstrings and stretch the hips. So holding these poses a little longer than usual, taking it slow, but not so much these longer held poses of yin. Still a really gentle restorative practice, almost like a hybrid practice between your hatha and your yin here. Good. Inhale, walk the hands back, lift the chest. Let's come into that opposite side, extend through the right leg. Pull the toes back towards you, push the heel away, really soft bend in the knee. Deep breath in, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, walking forwards. Good. Just continuing here, take it at your own pace. Notice how the side is feeling. This is definitely my tighter side. Good. Just take a few deep breaths here, really soften into it. If you are someone that's feeling it super intensely, you can feel these sensations of the body starting to tense or tighten with the intensity. Back it off a little. Give these tissues an opportunity to open in a gentle way, and you will find that this approach can often work much better than forcing or pushing. So this is what I mean when I say find your edge here, so that space between effort and ease, between challenge and surrender. Good. Inhale, walk the hands back, lift the chest. Good job. Let's take a little wriggle of the legs, see how they're feeling. Nice. And then let's take the legs out a little bit wider and take them as wide as feels good for you here. You can walk those sit bones a little further forward. Let's go for our wide leg forward fold. So same deal, push the heels away, pull the toes towards you, a little softness in the knees. Before we come into our forward fold, let's take a few deep breaths. For a little support, you might like to take the hands in front or one hand behind and in front. I'm going to do that here. As you inhale, let's pull the toes back towards us. Deep breath in. Good. Exhale, push them away. Notice how the stretch changes. Inhale, pull them towards you. Exhale, pushing away. Last few breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Deep breath in. Last one. Exhale. Good. Let's go for our forward fold here. Relax the feet, find whatever is comfortable. Deep breath in. Exhale here. You can start to walk it forwards. Keep that integrity in the spine still. Allow the heart to be the first to fold down. So if you're starting to look a little more like this, you're rounded through the spine, the shoulders are collapsing, walk it back a little. Find that opening in the chest. And be gentle here. It's likely that these inner thighs, these adductors are feeling a really good stretch. See if you can keep those toes turned towards the sky. And see if you can keep this tailbone lengthened, the sit bones connected. Good. Go for a little bit of a longer hold here. Let's go for another 10 breaths. You might like to continue walking it forwards if that feels good for you. To invite a little sway side to side here, just shifting some of this energy and finding movement and deepening the stretch into each hip. You might prefer stillness. This choice is yours. It should be starting to feel a little yummier, a little easier. These are your tissues softly opening. This is what we're after here. This is the gift of these slower hatha practices, that we can really take time to sit with ourselves and give the love and nurturing that the body needs. The last few breaths. Make these your deepest yet. And you will ready, gently walk these hands back, take your time. Notice these sensations here on the surface of the skin, on these internal tissues. And then you can take the hands to the backs of the thighs here. Gently help the legs together. And then you guys can draw your knees together. I'm gonna keep mine a little wider just so that I have space for the belly. And then you can fold it forwards, take a little rock side to side. Good. And when you're ready, making your way onto the back here. So take your time to soften down, ground through the sit bones. And then let's go ahead and draw those knees into the chest. You can leave a little separation between the knees. Massage the sacrum down. And just drawing circles here should feel really yummy for the lower spine. Change direction. Good, and when you're ready, go ahead and extend to that left leg. Let's hug that right knee in. And find an angle that works for you. This in itself should be a nice little hip opener. And let's keep that left egg nice and active. Ground through the left heel. Push those left toes back towards you. Good, and then same deal here, drawing circles with that hip, just this one hip. So similar pose. I have sand going in my ear. Similar pose to the beginning, so we're doing this more reclined. Good, and then let's take hold behind the hamstring, push the sole of the foot towards the sky. Try to keep around 90 degrees in the knee here. If holding behind the hamstrings feeling pretty good, you can start to connect a little deeper by taking hold of the elbows here. Good, last few breaths. See if you can keep both shoulder blades grounded, both sit bones grounded. And gently releasing. Let's take that right foot across the left thigh and float that left foot off the earth here. Finding your reclined pigeon, or sometimes I've even heard it being called your dead pigeon. If it's accessible, you can connect with the hands, interlacing them behind that left hamstring. And just taking a few moments here. This is a beautiful open into these external rotators of the hip. Last few breaths. When you're ready, gently releasing the bind. Cross that right knee over the left, shuffle the hips to the right of the mat, and then you can start to soften those knees over to the left side, extend to the right arm, go for a twist here. Soften the face, soften the shoulders. And the gaze might feel, or the neck might feel quite good, just keeping the gaze towards the sky. Otherwise, find your full extension of the twist. Take the gaze all the way over to the right side here. When you're ready, inhale back to center. Let's shuffle the hips to the middle of the mat. Draw the knees in, little circle side to side once more. And take a moment to notice the difference in the hips here. It's likely you're feeling a little more openness, a little more invitation into one hip than the other. Can definitely feel this more so in my right. Left is feeling that little bit, I don't know, I guess squidgy is the right word here. When you're ready, extend that right leg, draw that left knee in. find these circles, a little shimmy side to side, really any movement you can invite into the hip here. Nice, and when you're ready, let's interlace the fingers behind the hamstring. Push that sole of the foot towards the sky. Relax the shoulders back and down here. If you would like to interlace the fingers a little deeper and take hold of the elbows behind the hamstring, totally available. I'm gonna keep it with my bind with the hands today. This is where I'm at. Find where you are at. Ready, let's take that foot across the right thigh, deep bend into the right knee, float that right foot. So this particular pose, reclined pigeon, is a really nice way to take the intensity out of your regular one-legged king pigeon. Sometimes the weight of the torso, the weight of the upper body can really push you into this deep pose, much more than you're expecting when your hips are tight. And if you've ever come into this pose when the hips haven't been quite ready for it, haven't been quite open before, it can be almost excruciatingly painful sometimes. So a nice little way to ease into this pose. Still the same benefits, just less intensity. And if you are someone that prefers to stay in stillness, do just that. I love to find a little movement in these poses to just accentuate that lubrication and movement in the hips here. So I'm going to take a little rock side to side. Good, and then when you're ready, release. Cross that left knee over the right. Shuffle the hips to the left, drop the knees to the right. Extend the arms out wide. Way to strengthen and lengthen these paraspinal muscles and open into the outer hips. These elements are not being kind to me today. There's a lot of wind, a lot of sand here. It's always nice to practice in nature. Good, last few breaths here. Make them as deep as possible. Good job. Shuffle the hips back to the middle of the mat. Hug the knees in. Last little shimmy, last little rock side to side. What do you notice here? Good. When you're ready, let's take a big stretch out. Deep breath in. And exhale, finding your way into Savasana. Any Savasana of your choosing, your hips should be feeling really yummy and open. If you would like to bring the feet into your Baddha Konasana, so reclined bowed angle, Supta Baddha Konasana, go ahead and do just that. Find any comfortable positioning of the hands here. Take a moment to check in with how the lower body is feeling here and now. Any particular sensations that stand out for you? Last few moments to really honor this space, this time that you've taken for yourself. Knowing that some days are a little bit harder than others. That half the challenge is really actually just making it to the mat, and you've done this today, so good job. Draw the shoulder blades down the back, relax the knees, so the legs grow heavy. Invite the softness into the body. So these poses we ran through today are poses that you can come to as many times as you like. They're quite gentle, and you can even take one or two to sprinkle them throughout your day. All that I ask is that you do this in a very mindful way, listening to the body, listening to the hips. Let's find your last 5 deep breaths here. Can you breathe in so deep you send air to any tightness left in the hips? Long, slow exhale out. Ready, let's gently help those knees together. Rocking out to your favorite side. Making your way to a comfortable seat. Take your time, be gentle with yourself. Finding your way to your comfortable seat, draw the hands to the heart, Anjali Mudra to close. One last full breath in here. Exhale, let it go. Drawing thumbs to third eye in deep, deep gratitude for this practice, this beautiful body, and the breath. From my heart to yours, namaste. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me for Yoga for Hips. If you enjoyed this practice, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, a little comment below, and even share it with your friends. Namaste.